Thomas was waiting at a junction when a bus arrived. "Hello," said Thomas. "Who are you?" "I'm Bertie." "Who are you?" "I'm Thomas. I run this branch line." "So you're Thomas, eh? I remember now. You got stuck in the snow. I took your passengers and Terence the tractor pulled you out. I've come to help you with your passengers today." "Help me," said Thomas. "I can go faster than you." "You can't," said Bertie. "I can," huffed Thomas. "I'll race you," said Bertie. The drivers agreed to the race going ahead. The station master said, "Are you ready? Go." Thomas never could go fast at first. Bertie drew in front. "Why don't you go fast? Why don't you go fast?" "Wait and see, hissed Thomas. "It's a long way ahead." Thomas didn't mind. He remembered the level crossing. There was Bertie fuming at the gates while they sailed gaily. "Bye, Bertie," called Thomas. After that, the road left the railway. Then they had to stop at the station. Pulled Thomas, and off they went again. Come along, sang Thomas. We're coming along, sang Annie and Clarabel. Hurry, 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 panted Thomas. Then he looked ahead. There was Bertie tooting triumphantly on his horn. "Oh, dearie me," groaned Thomas. "Steady, Thomas," said his driver. "We'll beat Bertie yet." "We'll beat Bertie yet, we'll beat Bertie yet," echoed Annie and Clarabel. We'll do it, panted Thomas. "Oh, bother, there's a station." Then he heard Bertie. "Goodbye, Thomas. You must be tired. Sorry I can't stop. We buses have to work, you know. Goodbye." "Oh dear," thought Thomas. "We've lost." But he felt better after a drink. The signal dropped. "Hurrah, we're off! Hurrah, we're off!" puffed Thomas. As they crossed the bridge, they heard an impatient honk, honk. There was Bertie waiting at the traffic lights. He started the door and chased on after Thomas again. Now Thomas reached his full speed. Bertie tried hard, but Thomas was too fast. Whistling triumphant, he plunged into the tunnel, leaving Bertie toiling far behind. "I've done it, said Thomas. Done it, hooray, shouted Annie and Clarabel as they pushed into the bus station. Everyone was there to celebrate Thomas's victory, but they gave Bertie a big welcome too. "Well done, Thomas," said Bertie. "That was fun. But to beat you over that hill, I should have to grow wings and be an aeroplane." They now keep each other very busy. They often talk about their race, but Bertie's passengers don't like being bounced like peas in a frying pan. The Fat Controller has warned Thomas not to race at dangerous speeds. So although between you and me, they would like to have another race, I don't think they ever will. Do you? The Fat Controller sat in his office listening to the noise outside. The passengers were angry. The station master came in. "There's trouble in the shed, sir. Henry is sulking, there's no train, and the passengers are saying this is a bad railway." "Indeed," said the Fat Controller, "we cannot allow that." He found Gordon, James, and Henry looking very cross. "Come along, Henry, it's time your train was ready." Henry's not going, said Gordon. We won't shunt like common tank engines. That was Thomas's job. We are important tender engines. You fetch our coaches and we will pull them. Tender engines don't shunt. Oh, indeed, said the Fat Controller. We'll see about that. Engines on my railway do as they are told. And he hurried away to find Edward. The yard has never been the same since Thomas left to run his branch line, he thought sadly. Edward was shouting. Leave those trucks, please, Edward, said the Fat Controller. I want you to push coaches for me in the yard. Thank you, sir. That will be a nice change. That's a good engine. Off you go, then. So Edward found coaches for the 3 engines, and that day the trains ran as usual. Next morning, Edward looked unhappy. Gordon came clanking past, hissing rudely. Bless me, said the Fat Controller. What a noise. They all hiss me, sir, answered Edward. They say tender engines don't shunt, and last night they said I had black wheels. I haven't, have I, sir? No, Edward, you have nice blue ones, and I'm proud of you. Tender engines do shunt. But all the same, we do need another tank engine here. He went to a workshop and they showed him all sorts of engines. At last he saw a smart little green engine with 4 wheels. That's the one, he thought. If I choose you, will you work hard? Oh, sir, yes, sir. That's a good engine. I'll call you Percy. Yes, sir, thank you, sir, said Percy. The Fat Controller brought him back to the yard. Edward, he called, here's Percy. Will you show him everything? Percy soon learned what he had to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. When Henry jumped and went back to the shed. How beautifully you whisk him, laughed Edward. I can't whisk like that. Oh, said Percy, that's nothing. You should hear them in the workshop. You have to whisk louder. Next morning, Thomas arrived. The Fat Controller sent for me. I expect he wants help, he said to me. Shh, here he comes, replied Edward. Well done, Thomas. You've been quick. Listen, Henry, Gordon and James are sulking. They say they won't shunt like common tank engines. So I have shut them up and I want you both to run the line for a while. Common tank engines indeed, snorted Thomas. We'll show them. And Percy will help too. Oh, sir, yes, sir, please, sir, answered Percy. Edward and Thomas worked the main line, greeting each other as they passed by. Percy put them on the branch line. Thomas was anxious about Annie and Clarabel, but both driver and guard promised to take care of them. There were fewer trains, but the passengers didn't mind. They knew the 3 other engines were having a lesson. Gordon, James and Henry were cold, lonely and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly.
It was a splendid morning on the island of Sodor. James was feeling very pleased with himself. His red paint gleamed in the sunshine as he sped along the line. He reached the junction just as James was surprised to see him. What are you doing here, Percy? You should be at the station by now. I know, sighed Percy. These cars have been troublesome all morning. That's no excuse, Percy. Nothing should stop us. Sir Topham had to wise on us to be on time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Bossy buffers, muttered Percy. James arrived at the harbor. It was market day. The harbor yard was filled with the sweet smell of fruit from faraway lands. The fruit was delivered in big watched as strawberries, oranges, melons, and bananas were carefully loaded onto his car. Then he set off for the station in his line. On the way, he met Thomas. Really reliable. That's me, panted James. Maybe the same can't be said for Percy. Goodbye. What was all that about? Asked Andy and Clara. That was trouble for James. Just wait and see. Percy was back in the yard, busy shunting. He had the cars in good order and was making up for lost time. But the station master had bad news. What's happened? Asked Percy's driver. James's brakes have jammed. We need Percy's help right away. Percy quickly set off to the rescue. James was stuck on the line and looking glum. Percy couldn't come back. Got yourself in a bit of a jam, eh, James? A sticky situation? Be quiet. It's not funny having jammed brakes. And not very reliable either. I'm surprised you let it happen, James. Nothing should stop us engines. That's enough, Percy, said the driver. Can you push these cars? Of course I can. There's no time to lose. James has done too much of that already. James angrily hissed steam as Percy was coupled to the cars. Off we go, said Percy. I'll have to go fast to get there in time. Those big engines are so unreliable. Be careful, Percy, called his driver. But Percy was in a hurry. He didn't see that the switch had failed and that he had been diverted into a siding. Look out, Percy, shouted his driver and applied the brakes, but it was too late. The driver and fireman had jumped clear, but squashed fruit squirted all over Percy. Sir Topham had arrived. Percy, you are not to blame for the switch failure, but I do not run a jam factory. Yes, sir. No, sir. And Percy squelched sadly away. That night, the shed was silent. James and Percy felt very sorry for themselves. At last, Thomas spoke. You know, he said to no engine in particular, there's more than one way to get jammed. We all learned that today. Still, there was silence. What's more, we also learned that sometimes when engines help each other out of a jam, things can still go wrong. So, said a voice, so, that means we learned a lot today, and therefore, then came the chorus. It was chorus after all.
Thomas the Tank Engine wouldn't stop being a nuisance. Night after night he kept the other engines awake. I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the world. The other engines didn't take much notice, but Thomas was a little engine with a long tongue. But one night, Edward came to the shed. He was a kind little engine and felt sorry for Thomas. I've got some trucks to take home tomorrow. If you take them instead of me, I'll push coaches in the yard. Thank you, said Thomas. That will be nice. Next morning, Edward and Thomas asked their drivers, and when they said yes, Thomas ran off happily to find trucks. Now, trucks are silly and noisy. They talk a lot and don't attend to what they are doing. And I'm sorry to say they play tricks on an engine who is not used to them. Edward knew all about trucks. He warned Thomas to be careful, but Thomas was too excited to listen. The chauffeur fastened it up with, and when the signal dropped, Thomas was ready. The guard blew his whistle. Peep, peep, answered Thomas, and started off. But the trucks weren't ready. Oh, they screamed, wait, Thomas, wait. But Thomas wouldn't wait. Come on, people. All right, don't fuss, grumble the trucks. Thomas began going faster and faster. He whistled as he rushed through Henry's tunnel. Hurry, called Thomas. He was feeling very proud of himself, but the trucks grew crosser and crosser. At last, Thomas slowed down as he came to Gordon's Hill. Steady now, steady, warned the driver as they reached the top. He began to put on the brakes. We're stopping, called Thomas. No, answered the trucks, bumping into each other. Go on. Before the driver could stop them, they had pushed Thomas down the hill and were rattling and laughing behind him. Poor Thomas tried hard to stop them from making him go too fast. Stop pushing, he hissed, but the trucks took no notice. Go on, they giggled in their silly way. There's the station. Oh dear, what shall I do, he cried. He rattled straight through and swerved into the goods yard. Thomas shut his eyes. I must stop. When he opened his eyes, he saw he had stopped just in front of the buffers. There, watching him, was the fat controller. What are you doing here, Thomas, he asked. I brought Edward's trucks, Thomas answered. Why did you come so fast? I didn't mean to. I was pushed, said Thomas. You've got a lot to learn about trucks then, little Thomas. After pushing them about here for a few weeks, you'll know almost as much about them as Edward. Then you'll be a really useful engine. Thomas the Tank Engine wouldn't stop being a nuisance. Night after night he kept the other engines awake. I'm tired of pushing coaches. I want to see the world. The other engines didn't take much notice, but Thomas was a little engine with a long tongue. But one night, Edward came to the shed. He was a kind little engine and felt sorry for Thomas. I've got some trucks to take home tomorrow. If you take them instead of me, I'll push coaches in the yard. Thank you, said Thomas. That will be nice. Next morning, Edward and Thomas asked their drivers, and when they said yes, Thomas ran off happily to find trucks. Now, trucks are silly and noisy. They talk a lot and don't attend to what they are doing. And I'm sorry to say they play tricks on an engine who is not used to them. Edward knew all about trucks. He warned Thomas to be careful, but Thomas was too excited to listen. The shunter fastened the top with, and when the signal dropped, Thomas was ready. The guard blew his whistle, peep peep, answered Thomas, and started off. But the trucks weren't ready. Oh, they screamed, wait, Thomas, wait. But Thomas wouldn't wait. Come on, people. All right, don't fuss, grumble the trucks. Thomas began going faster and faster. He whistled as he rushed through Henry's tunnel. crosser. At last, Thomas slowed down as he came to Gordon's Hill. Steady now, steady, warned the driver as they reached the top. He began to put on the brakes. We're stopping, called Thomas. No, answered the trucks, bumping into each other. Go on. Before the driver could stop them, they had pushed Thomas down the hill and were rattling and laughing behind him. Poor Thomas tried hard to stop them from making him go too fast. Stop pushing, he hissed. But the trucks took no notice. Go on, they giggled in their silly way. There's the station. Oh dear, what shall I do, he cried. He rattled straight through and swerved into the goods yard. Thomas shut his eyes. I must stop. When he opened his eyes, he saw he had stopped just in front of the buffers. There, watching him, was the fat controller. What are you doing here, Thomas, he asked. I brought Edward's trucks, Thomas answered. Why did you come so fast? I didn't mean to. I was pushed, said Thomas. You've got a lot to learn about trucks then, little Thomas. After pushing them about here for a few weeks, you'll know almost as much about them as Edward. Then you'll be a really useful engine. His train. Hello, he always said to Thomas. Remember, don't be impatient, Thomas. You could never be as strong and fast as Gordon, but you can be a really useful engine. Don't let the silly trucks tease you. There were lots of trucks, and Thomas worked very hard pushing and pulling them into place. There was also a small coach and two strange things his driver called cranes. That's the breakdown train, he told Thomas. The cranes are for lifting heavy things like engines and coaches and trucks. One day, Thomas was in the yard. Suddenly, he heard an engine whistling. Help! Yes, they were rushing through much of the house. The engine was James, and he was fighting. His brake lights were all fire. They're pushing me, he panted. On, like the ships. Still whistling. Help! I'd like to teach those trucks a lesson, said Thomas the Tank Engine. Soon came the alarm. James is off the line. The breakdown train, quickly! Thomas was coupled on, and off they went. Thomas worked his hardest. Hurry, he puffed. He wasn't pretending to be like Gordon. He really hated it. I hope poor James isn't hurt. James's driver and fireman were dealing with him all over to see if he was hurt. Never mind, James, they said. It wasn't your fault. It was those wooden brakes they did. We always said they were no good. Thomas pushed the breakdown train alongside. He pulled the one-third coach out of the way. Oh dear, they did it. Serves you right, thought Thomas. It was hard work, hopping backwards and forwards all afternoon. This will teach you a lesson, he told the coach. And they answered, yes it will. They left the broken trucks, then with two trains they put James back on the rails. Solo was waiting anxiously for them. Well, Thomas, he said, I've heard all about it, and I'm very pleased with you. You're a really useful engine. Jane shall have some proper brakes and a new coat of paint, and you shall have a branch line all to yourself. Oh, thank you, sir, said Thomas. Now Thomas is as happy as can be. Branch line and 2 coaches called Annie and Clarabelle. He puffed proudly backwards and forwards with them all day. He is never lonely. Edward and Henry stop quite often and tell him the news. Gordon is always in the boat. He never forgets to say "Poop, poop," and Thomas whistles "Peep, peep" in return. Thomas is a tank engine who lives at a big station on the island of Sodor. He's a cheeky little engine with 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and a short stumpy dome. He's a fussy little engine too, always pulling coaches about ready for the big engines to take on long journeys. And when trains come in, he pulls the empty coaches away so that the big engines can go and rest. Thomas thinks no engine works as hard as he does. He loves playing tricks on them, including Gordon, the biggest and proudest engine of all. Thomas likes to tease Gordon with his whistle. Wake up, lazy bones, why don't you work hard like me? One day, on the big express, Gordon had arrived back at the siding, very tired. He was just going to sleep when Thomas came up in his cheeky way. Wake up, lazy bones, do some hard work for a change. You can't catch me. And got Thomas round laughing. Instead of going to sleep again, Gordon thought how he could get back at Thomas. One morning, Thomas wouldn't wake up. His driver and fireman couldn't make him start. His fire went out and there was not enough steam. It was nearly time for the express. People were waiting, but the coaches weren't ready. At last, Thomas started. Oh dear, he yawned. Where Gordon was waiting. Hurry up, you, said Gordon. Hurry yourself, replied Thomas. Gordon, the proud engine, began making his plan to teach Thomas a lesson for teasing. Almost before the coaches had stopped moving, Gordon reversed quickly and recoupled to the train. Get in quickly, please, he whistled. Thomas usually pushed behind the big trains to help them start, but he was always on top of first. This time, Gordon started so quickly that it got all coupled up. Gordon's chance had come. Come on, thought Gordon with the coaches. Train went faster and faster, too fast for Thomas. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't. Pick, stop! Hurry, laughed Gordon. You can't get away, laughed the coaches. Poor Thomas had gone faster than he had ever gone before. He was out of breath, and his wheels hurt, but he had to go on. I shall never be the same again, he thought sadly. My wheels will be quite worn out. Thomas was uncoupled, and he felt very silly and exhausted. Next, he went on to a turntable, thinking of everyone laughing at him. Then he went on to a siding out of the way. Well, little Thomas, chuckled Gordon, now you know what hard work means, don't you? Poor Thomas couldn't answer.
He has no breath. He just puffs slowly away to rest and have a long, long dream. Maybe I don't have to teach Jordan the feeling for Thomas Wilson himself. And he puffs